All right, listen up, network defenders. This is a Code Ninja security advisory. We are officially sounding the alarm on a critical zero day that, frankly, it demands immediate action if you want to protect your perimeter. Today's explainer is a full disclosure briefing on CVE-2026-39808. Look, we're dealing with an unauthenticated remote command injection flaw in Fortinet FortiSandbox, and yeah, it grants attackers a complete sandbox escape with root privileges. You know how it goes. Your defensive tooling that's deployed once, trusted permanently, and then just rarely tested like the internet-facing asset it actually is. Right now, your security stack is your primary attack surface.
So the objective of this disclosure briefing is simple and honestly non-negotiable. We are forcing immediate vendor patching and mitigation. It's an uncomfortable reality, right? The very appliance being exploited here is a security appliance. Our defensive tooling so often skips that continuous verification standard we apply to the rest of the network. Bottom line, this is a critical threat level and action is required today.
Let's rapidly trace how this vulnerability evolved, because the sheer speed of weaponization here absolutely validates the extreme urgency of this threat. Okay, so on April 14, 2026, the flaw was officially published to the National Vulnerability Database. Fast forward just a few months to July 16th, and the situation escalated from, a theoretical risk to an active, burning crisis. That's when CISA added CVE-2026-39808, along with a related flaw, CVE-2026-25089, straight to its Known Exploited Vulnerabilities catalog. Recognizing just how catastrophic this is, CISA enforced an aggressively short, 3-day federal deadline to patch affected systems by July 19th. And guess what? That deadline has already expired. If your appliance was unpatched by that date, you are already seriously behind the curve.
Before we dive into Phase 3 and really break down the exploit mechanics, let's pause for a quick tactical comms check. Communication link, pending. Do you copy? As defenders, getting real-time intelligence is a fundamental security necessity. So I need you to subscribe to @CyberTech79 and enable those notifications right now. You literally cannot afford to miss these critical advisories. And hey, if you are receiving this intel loud and clear, go ahead and drop a like on this briefing as a formal ACK, an acknowledgement of receipt.
All right, let's initiate the protocol. CVE-2026-39808 carries a catastrophic CVS score of 9.8 out of 10. We're talking critical severity here. But what makes a 9.8 so terrifying is the attack vector itself. This is an unauthenticated remote attack. The threat actor doesn't need any prior authentication or privileges on your target system, and absolutely zero user interaction is required to trigger it. None. They just need network access to your vulnerable appliance, and they're in.
But that 9.8 CVSS score, that's really only half the story. If we look at the Exploit Prediction Scoring System, or EPSS, which measures the actual real-world exploitability of a flaw, CVE-2026-39808 has a staggering EPS probability of 48.7%. To put that into perspective for a second, that drops this flaw into the 98.7th percentile of all scored vulnerabilities globally. It is literally a coin flip that this gets exploited in your environment within a 30-day window. And since it's already confirmed in CISA's KEV catalog, we know for a fact that active danger is present.
So, let's define the blast radius. Who exactly is at risk here? Well, if you're running FortiSandbox versions 4.4.0 through 4.4.8, you are directly vulnerable to CVE 2026-39808. And if you're on versions 5.0.0 through 5.0.5, you're vulnerable to that related flaw we mentioned, CVE 2026-25089. Remember, FortiSandbox is the appliance that detonates suspicious files for you. It sits incredibly deep in your enterprise trust chain, it holds live malware samples, and it talks to the rest of your security stack. Anyone running these builds is sitting on a completely compromised trust chain. You're only secure if you patch up to versions 4.4.9 or 5.0.6 and higher.
Let's dig into the technical root cause for a minute. This is classified as CVE-78, improper neutralization of special elements used in an OS command. Or, in plain terms, it's a classic OS command injection flaw. Basically, the FortiSandbox application completely fails to sanitize user-supplied data. When it processes certain inputs, it just doesn't properly neutralize shell metacharacters. We're talking pipes, backticks, semicolons. It just passes them straight through to system command execution functions. This massive oversight lets an attacker seamlessly chain arbitrary commands right onto legitimate system operations.
And man, there is a devastating irony to this whole exploit. The intended behavior of FortiSandbox is, obviously, to provide a highly restricted, isolated environment for malware detonation and analysis. But thanks to this command injection flaw, the actual behavior results in a total sandbox breakout. It's crazy. The exact appliance meant to isolate and detonate malware becomes the ultimate entry point for it. Attackers can read or modify sensitive config data, establish a persistent backdoor, and easily pivot to other systems inside your internal network.
Let's look at the weaponization and see how this actually plays out in the wild. A security researcher who goes by 0xBlackash published a super clean, fully weaponized proof of concept on GitHub. This POC shows that just by manipulating a specific parameter called JID over a simple HTTP GET request, an attacker gets immediate root-level execution. The payload literally kicks back UID equals 0, GID equals 0, definitively proving the attacker has root privileges. They can run something as simple as requesting the host name and IP address and just output the result directly to a text file hosted on the appliance's web server to read whenever they feel like it. Technical transparency here is absolutely vital so you understand exactly how trivial this thing is to execute.
All right, we've established the severity, the mechanics, and the fact that this threat is being actively exploited. It is time to initiate mandatory remediation directives.
Here is your immediate response plan to stop the bleeding. Step 1. Patching is non-negotiable. You absolutely must upgrade your FortiSandbox appliances to versions 4.4.9 or 5.06 immediately. Now, if patching has to be temporarily delayed for some unavoidable operational reason, you do have some strict fallbacks. Step 2. Isolate those management interfaces. Lock down network access using IP tables or strict firewall policies so they're only accessible from trusted IP addresses. Keep it completely off the public internet. And Step 3. Deploy Web Application Firewall, or WAF. Rules specifically tailored to filter out requests containing common command injection patterns and shell meta characters. Listen, because that July 19th federal deadline has already come and gone, defenders really have to operate under the assumption that a breach has already happened. You need to start hunting backward through your system logs using these specific indicators of compromise. First, look for unusual process spawning, specifically anomalous shell processes like /binsh or /binbash that are originating from FortiSandbox services. Next, monitor for any unexpected outbound network connections going to unauthorized external IPs. Also check for any unauthorized files or scripts just sitting in temporary directories on the appliance. And lastly, aggressively scan your system logs for those shell meta characters and command chaining operators we talked about. So, why are we pushing for such aggressive full disclosure on this explainer? Well, we practice coordinated vulnerability disclosure because users quite simply need to know in order to protect their systems. Obscuring the technical reality of a 9.8 CVSS flaw that is actively being exploited, that only benefits the threat actors. By anchoring our approach in the white hat ethical code, we force vendors to fix their products, and we empower you, the defenders, with the exact unfiltered intelligence you need to write custom interception rules and lock down the perimeter.
Your defensive stack is only ever as strong as its weakest unpatched appliance. Don't let your malware sandbox be the reason your entire network falls. Go verify your versions, deploy the patches, and start hunting through your logs today. Because if you aren't actively hunting for them right now, what makes you think they aren't already inside? From the Code Ninja desk, signing off. Stay secure.